Hello again, guys. I am now doing week 6 of the YouTube Pagan Challenge. Woo! I finally made it to week 6, which means I only have 2 more weeks to catch up with, and then I'll be back on track on the right week. Yeah, that came out weird and crazy, but that's just me, guys. You're just gonna have to deal. Anyway, this week's subject is actually, what are your cultural influences? Now, this one was actually, I thought, was a really cool subject because there are so many ways you can go with this. There's so many facets to who we are as people, and there are facets to who we are for our religion, and there's facets to who we are for our culture. So, to start with, I'll give a little bit of history on who I am as a person. I am Irish. I'm Italian. I'm Polish. I am Lithuanian, and basically I'm American. So yeah, I'm a mutt. But my biggest amount of who I am, who I identify as, is Italian and Irish. And predominantly the Irish side of me is, I cook well, that's all Italian, I'm fiery, I'm an Italian woman, but I'm also the crazy Irish person. And as well as Polish. So that is just my lineage. To go in more depth with what kind of cultures I study, especially in my practice, I would have to say that predominantly I am very into Celtic and Nordic mythology. It used to be that I was very interested in Greco-Roman as well as Egyptian. But I have, in the last 5 years or so, kind of moved away from that. I've kind of evolved, and where I am now is this desire to be close to my ancestors. And since the pagan part of my family would be predominantly Norse and Celtic, now obviously there would be English because there is a bunch of English intermingled with the Irish part of my family, but predominantly I find myself studying Celtic and Nordic mythology and magic and history, especially right now. And I know that maybe I mentioned before that I was hoping that this year would be the kind of year where I would pick a subject and I would study it, and that's kind of actually happened. Mostly right now what I'm studying is, since I finished the Norse book by DJ Conway about Norse magic, I finally finished that. I'm now moving on to Celtic mythology. And the funniest part of this right now is I'm actually doing a lot of this with a coloring book, which sounds insane, but I promise you it's not. And there are 2 reasons for this. I have to show you because it's that cool. What I got most recently, actually over at Barnes & Noble, I got this awesome thick coloring book called Ancient Alchemy. Now you can already see on the front cover what kind of book this is. And it's called Celtic Knots, Mandalas, and Sacred Symbols. I am obsessed. I don't know if you can see, but if you're someone that is visual, who is an artist like I am, you would love this. And part of it for me is that every time I color in something, there's even a tree of life. How freaking cool is that? And I feel like, and my partner has as well, that there's something incredibly relaxing about coloring. Coloring art in general, but especially coloring in pages. And it's like with every drawing that I do, I become a better painter, or I become a better writer, or any project, anything artistic that I do, the more I do of it, the better I become. And I'm kind of looking at it as I need center in my life, and I've tried lots of meditation, and meditation just is not something that I particularly am ever going to excel at, that I'm ever going to be great at. So instead, what I've been working on instead for the last couple weeks is coloring. Mostly because it's Celtic. There's sacred symbols. There's just about anything you can imagine in here. And I feel like I'm more in touch with the inner workings of my brain and my soul than I am when I'm trying to meditate on something. It doesn't come naturally for me. It doesn't flow. I don't feel relaxed. I actually kind of sometimes feel on edge. It's not for me. But drawing comes kind of a bit more naturally, especially coloring. And actually, I know that this is becoming very popular to have adult coloring books, and a lot of my friends are really into this now as well. I know I'm a little bit late on the bandwagon. It was really big around Christmas for some reason, probably because everybody wanted one. But we all feel a lot more relaxed. We feel more centered. We feel just positive and better. And I mean, there's coloring books to work your way through positivity. There's relaxation. There's meditation ones. There's so many different ones. But this one is near and dear because it's predominantly Celtic and sacred things. So with each one that I work on, not only do I center myself, I work on my art, I work on who I am, I work on my self in general, and that kind of helps me get into my roots. And, studying who you are as a person by your lineage is one way to really tap in to nature in a way. It's one way to tap into who you are in your path and in your working as well. So for me, because my cultural influences are Celtic, Irish, English, and Italian, this is one way that I can actually access these things and get myself in the right mindset to tap even further. So for example, once I get the book I have a new book that's coming in the mail soon that is predominantly about Celtic mythology and Celtic magic. For example, to try to put myself, sometimes you find yourself, you can't get into the center. You can't get into the mindset to do something. You can't do a working because your mind's all over the place. You can't find center. You can't find who you are. You can't do any of that. My plan is to use this in my workings and in my ritual because of one very simple fact. Like we've already discussed, it can bring me down to center. It can bring me home. So what I'm hoping to do with this book, and I'm probably going to buy more because, pack rat, we're witches, we do that. But, I can color in one of these beautiful pieces of art, like even this one. Say I want to do, for example, I'm really tapping into my Celtic side with the triquetra here. And I can color that in. I could even trace it if I wanted to and make a separate one. I can use this in working. Think about it that way. I can put my energy into it by hand, by coloring it in, but also putting in my focus and my physical energy and my emotional energy and, all of that energy is in there now. And then did I tell you they're perforated? So this actually will come right out. So I can actually color that in, work all my energy into it, and use that as energy. I can use that color. If, say I do one color or multiple color, those colors can have meanings too. Because, we know there's colors that all colors have meanings. And I can use these pictures that I'm going to color, and I can use them with the color to use for energy, for meaning. I can use them as a jumping off point. I can use them as my focus. I can put them in my ritual. I can use it. You can even do it as an offering. I mean, they would love that. But sorry, my phone started going off. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, so as far as culturally, this is how I'm tapping into it right now. And it's just, I know I ended up going on a rant about it. It really wasn't about the subject, but it was kind of a jumping off point of the subject. But I just wanted to tell you guys that that's one option, that it's something that's working well for me, especially finding my center, finding a way to be relaxed and present. But also it gives like the background of the drawings in there, so you can kind of learn about the Celtic knots or the mandalas or anything else. Like, say you get a specific coloring book, that can go well, very easily along with your research and your methods and your magic and everything that you study, because we're always learning, we're always studying. That is one thing that will go with it well, to help us tap into our ancestry and help us tap into our influences. So like I said, that's where I am this year, is, working on Celtic and Nordic things. So now you know. Blessed be, guys. We'll see you later.